Before we delve into auto-dispatch plan configurations, worth taking a moment to understand what next-day planning actually involves. It's far more complex than simply matching a driver to a booking. Every booking starts with 3 key pieces of information: a pick-up and drop-off address, a time constraint, and every one of these must be respected. As for the drivers, they have their own starting point, usually their home address or a designated base, so the system must calculate how long it takes each driver to reach their first pickup from wherever they begin. And at the end of the shift, it must also ensure that the driver can finish their final job and still return to the home or base address at the required time, or the end of the shift. On top of that, drivers may already have pre-assigned rides for the next day. These rides come with their own pick-up and drop-off points, expected travel times, expected waiting and unloading time constraints. So the system must guarantee that assigned rides do not overlap with pre-assigned rides. It must ensure that the driver can finish one job, travel to the next pickup, wait the required amount of time if needed, and still arrive on schedule. To make accurate decisions, the system needs reliable travel time predictions. And because we're planning for tomorrow, we can't use real-time traffic. Instead, Google uses years of historical traffic data for the same road segments, the same hours of the day, and the same days of the week. A great example of this would be a town or city with a weekly market day, where certain streets close to vehicles, traffic is rerouted, and congestion naturally builds up around the closed zone. Google's historical data recognizes this pattern. It learns that every Wednesday, between 7 in the morning and midday, specific roads are shut, alternative routes become overloaded, and travel times increase. Another good example is planned construction closures. When local authorities share this information with Google, the system knows the road will be closed during that week and automatically routes drivers around it. It increases travel times, applies detours, and adjusts the schedule without anyone needing to notice manually. A dispatcher might not even know that the closure exists, but the optimizer can account for it instantly when the data is available. In addition to historical data, Google uses machine learning models, their version of AI, to refine those predictions based on long-term trends. These models consider seasonal behavior, school term schedules, typical commuter flows, and even events like football matches or concerts that are known to impact certain areas. The result is not just a guess, but a statistically informed prediction based on millions of past journeys. All of these elements, addresses, travel times, waiting periods, unloading times, and drivers' starting points, feed into the optimization engine. Its job is to calculate the most efficient way to cover tomorrow's workload without breaking a single constraint. It must ensure that every passenger is collected on time, every driver's journey is physically possible, and that the entire plan respects legal and operational limits. This level of planning would be nearly impossible to do manually for even a small fleet. But with the right configuration and the power of Google's optimization and AI-driven predictions, the system can produce a safe, reliable, and highly efficient plan for the next day. It's important to remember that all of this logic isn't used just for next-day planning. When you turn on live auto-dispatch, the same intelligence applies in real time. It's using live traffic conditions, predicted congestion, road closures, driver locations, waiting times, flight arrival changes, passenger cancellation, and every operational constraint to make the best possible assignment at the moment a booking arrives. So whether you're planning tomorrow's schedule or dispatching live jobs throughout the day, the same advanced routing, timing, optimization rules are working behind the scenes to support every decision. Because there are so many changing variables, Google effectively gives you your eyes on the road at all times. It's constantly analyzing live traffic, historical trends, driver locations, closures, and all constraints at once. It sees details no dispatcher could realistically track manually. Now to the video. In this session, we're going to cover auto-dispatch. The screen you're looking at now is the unallocated rides page. It says 29 bookings in total for tomorrow. And we've set this test up in Porto in Portugal. So we have 29 bookings and 6 riders. To enable auto-dispatch, you would need to add a payment method first. And you can do that very simply in the admin menu, configuration, system settings, and there's a panel there for you to add your card. Now, for this to work perfectly, the data needs to be correct. So from the services button, these are the service types. We have our standard saloon. Click on edit. It's going to show you how this is set up. So you can turn on and off auto dispatch on a per vehicle basis, on and off. And this is where we determine the on-site time. This is the time that the vehicle needs to be at the address prior to the pickup time. So anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, okay? Now for a standard saloon, it's probably going to be 10 minutes before the pickup, but if it was a VIP booking, you may want to expand that a little bit more. You may want it there 30 minutes before the pickup time. If it's a minibus, you might even want it there 45 minutes before the pickup time, but so we're going to leave that at 10 for this standard saloon. And you'd work through the list for each of these service types. So on our assets, our active list, we have vehicles that have been assigned to the drivers. Now, when you added these, you would have been asked to set the default vehicle type, and that's important. But then any of the other services that this vehicle could perform. So we're looking at a standard saloon. It can only perform standard saloon booking. If we take another one, if we look at executive minivan, that's the default setting. Executive saloon bookings it can carry out as well. It can't do minivan, minibus. It may do standard minivan bookings. And it could do standard saloon. And when you're happy with that, you just click on save. And that's the same. This is something you set up once when the vehicle's added. But for auto dispatch, this has to work properly. These settings have to be set correctly. In our drivers section here, we have the driver's profile. We can edit the driver. Important pieces here are the address, the driver's home address. Otherwise, the algorithm won't be able to create a starting point that's accurate enough. And the other one is the vehicle that the driver is assigned to in its profile. And down on the right-hand side, the working pattern for this particular driver. Once those are set, they tend to stay the same. For the duration, the driver is with you. The other option is obviously down here, the maximum number of driven hours, but if you've set their shift from 7 till 7, then obviously you wouldn't need to worry about that. But if you wanted to set that to 6, for example, and then there has to be a break, 1 hour in between, we'd send that off to the algorithm, and Google would return based on that. So it's a 12-hour shift, but after hour 6, he needs 1 hour break. That's the settings for the driver. So we want to set the drivers that are available to work tomorrow. So I've just added a few here already. So they have their driver vehicle there attached to the shift. And so I've added 4 already. And then here, if there is a change, you can just make these changes here. But it's pulling the information from the profile. So the more accurate the profile is, the easier that this is going to be. So we'll go add. We want all 6 drivers working tomorrow. And that's it. Bear in mind, this is just for tomorrow. Okay, so you would need to repeat this every day, because we need to keep telling the system who's working tomorrow. You can't just assume. Next, go back to our auto dispatch plan and configuration from the driver's menu. We have our plan settings. So we give it a description. And airport grace period. So the auto dispatch algorithm needs to be told what sort of address the driver is picking up from. So from a standard address or a hotel, customer's going to be through pretty quickly. Whereas at an airport, the driver has to have time to park the vehicle and get inside the terminal. And we can't guess this. And because it's happening tomorrow, we need to tell the system how long the driver is going to be at the pickup point before the customer embarks in the vehicle and they leave. So you can set that 45 minutes, 30 minutes, depends on your policy. The next one, exactly the same, but for a standard address, so we can assume that the passenger will come out 15 minutes after pickup time. Just building buffers in so that the auto dispatch can make better decisions, making sure that your vehicles will arrive on time to your customers. Unloading time is the same, it just adds a buffer onto the end of the ride, so when the journey is complete, putting on 5 minutes to allow disembarkation. I'm going to skip these for another video. It's a driver allocation to try to give each available driver at least one job. Or you can just let the system optimize. That may result in a driver not receiving a job, but the rest of the bookings will be optimized with the smallest amount of drivers. So once you've set that up, you probably only have to do this once, you can click on Save. The button here for penalty cost management, it just prioritizes one vehicle over another. So if an executive minivan can carry out minivan bookings and standard saloon, you want to make sure that if there is a request for an executive minivan tomorrow, that it's going to be prioritized. It's a little bit complex, but we've set these up for you. In theory, they wouldn't need to be changed. Next, we want to get our bookings for tomorrow. Just going to run through the options here. So we need your confirmation that generating a new optimization run will create a charge on your account. Okay. That the driver's shift have been created for the operational date tomorrow. Drivers' home addresses have been added correctly. We covered that and are up to date. Vehicles are correctly paired. And the plan settings have been reviewed, waiting times, solving mode, etc. Okay. So by clicking Agree and Confirm, the charge for running the auto dispatch would have been triggered. So here we have plan number 139, and it's just telling us that we need to click the Assign Drivers button, and that bookings will not be assigned to the drivers at this stage. Okay. So by clicking the button, it's going to send the information off to Google, who will return the results, and they will display on this page. So just click that. And now you can see we have our drivers assigned. So we have the driver's name, the vehicle that he's driving, and the type of vehicle, what time he's leaving home according to Google, and his shift window. So this is an address pickup. So as we said before, pickup is at 10:15. So the vehicle needs to be standard saloon, needs to be on site 10 minutes earlier, so at 10:05. And we expect the customer to leave 15 minutes afterwards. So it leaves at 10:30. Based on historical traffic, Google says that it takes 7 minutes to do that journey. Let's just scroll down and find an airport. So pickup time, 15:55. Standard saloon needs to be there 10 minutes earlier. We expect the vehicle to leave 45 minutes after. And according to Google on historical traffic, the vehicle will drop off at 5:13. Let's just scroll down a bit longer. So you can see that some drivers are leaving home later because there's not enough bookings for them. So leaves home at 7:45. Standard saloon, executive minivan. So you can see that the executive minivan has a minivan booking because we've assigned it to be able to do standard minivan and standard saloon. And then we have 2 bookings that can't be covered. So sometimes we don't get a response back from Google as to why, but there will be a logical reason why that couldn't be assigned. And this one here, well, it's 10:07. Cannot be performed within the vehicle time windows. That makes sense because we've told Google that the shifts for these drivers start at 7 and end at 7. So anything to go over their shift, it wouldn't assign to the drivers. You can simply select driver from the drop-down list here and then click the assign button, and that would then move it up to the grid above. So that's it. So almost all of our bookings for tomorrow have been assigned. We want to assign these in the system now. And there's just a warning. So when you're assigning from the unassigned or unallocated rides page, when you do a physical assignment to a driver, it will send either a text message or an email to the driver with the details. And that's based on the driver's profile. This is a soft assignment. So it's you can reverse it. It's not reversible from here, but you can from the unallocated page. So don't panic. But what it won't do here is it won't send a message to the driver to say that these rides have been allocated. Let's just go ahead and allocate these now. It's the first one. Just go through them one by one. It gives you an opportunity to just review the data before you assign them. Maybe I think that's the last one. Okay. There's the 2 bookings that can't be covered. Let's go off now to our booking management page. And then we'll be able to see here all of our bookings that have been assigned to the drivers for the following day. And we can see the 2 here that haven't been assigned. So that's the process for planning next day. It really does take the effort out of manual assignment. You know, Google knows the historical data for the traffic. It knows where the driver lives, what time they start work, what time they finish work, where they need to be when they finish work as well, so back at their home address. And really, we assigned all of those bookings for the following day in under a minute. So if you're spending an hour or 2 hours a day planning tomorrow, this could be cut down dramatically to just 60 seconds in theory. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can raise a support ticket here, and we'll respond as soon as we can. Thank you.